Okay, continuing here in week 1, chapters 1 through 2, PowerPoint. We're on slide number 34, talking about the 4 key values of America. The third is equality, okay? Drawing from the Declaration of Independence, we are endowed by our Creator with certain inalienable rights. From our Creator, we are all equal. Okay, again, the idea there, the equality is we're all equal in our humanness, right? We're all equal by being alive and being human. So all men are created equal, okay? Jefferson said all men are created equal, endowed by their Creator with certain unalienable rights. That was significant. Again, a lot of this we take for granted, but you go over to Europe, there's lords, there's ladies, there's monarchies, there's aristocracy. Okay, there's different classes of people and things like that, and you never change. You never got up to those higher classes. And again, when the aristocracy, if there was any aristocracy at all, came over the United States, they're all on their own, right? There's no mansion for them or palace for them, man. You better, again, shoot your own food, catch your own food, grow your own food, whatever. We're all in this thing together, so to speak, as we're saying right now in the pandemic. Same idea within America at its founding. We're all equal, okay? And so the idea is that we're all equal under the law. Okay, there's no one above the law. Everyone's supposed to be submitted together under the law, okay? So again, another example, a reference in slide number 35 to de Tocqueville and Democracy in America. He says, the European generally submits to public officer because he represents a superior force. Again, think of policemen, okay? When a European sees a superior officer, whether it's a government official or a policeman, there's a lot of fear there. What are they doing? Are they gonna, seize me? Are they gonna take away my property? Whatever. There's a lot of concern. There's a lot of force there, okay? Because they didn't have the concept of rights we have. But then he goes on to say, but to an American, he represents a right. In America, it may be said that no one renders obedience to man, but to justice and to law. Okay, so to an American, when you see a police officer, you immediately think rights, okay? Americans, even if they don't know it as well, and maybe you don't know them that well, or maybe you do, there's certain Bill of Rights we understand: freedom of speech, freedom of religion, freedom to petition government, freedom to assemble, right? Fifth Amendment rights, right? To plead, to not incriminate yourself, okay? Things of that nature. In other words, when you see a policeman, most Americans are aware of their rights. Okay, that's this, we're all equal in our rights, okay? And what de Tocqueville said is the European at that time, there was none of that, okay? There was different classes of people, so when you saw a policeman, man, or a government official, you recognize, man, force is coming your way, and there's nothing you can do about it, okay? And again, our system of government's not perfect. We are far from, an unflawed group of people and an unflawed group of laws. But again, if you compare it with other nations, we've got a pretty good system of government, okay? If you go to the next slide, okay, slide number 36, the founders on equality. Equal rights for all, special privileges for none. Okay, that's this idea that no one's above the law. And you can see an example of this if you go to slide number 37. This is from the Massachusetts Constitution from 1780 that John Adams wrote, okay? This idea of equal rights for all, but nobody gets special privileges. It says, no man, corporation, association of men, have any other title to obtain advantages or particular or exclusive privileges distinct from those of the community than what rises from the consideration of services rendered to the public, and this title being in nature neither hereditary nor transmissible to children or descendants or relations by blood. The idea of man born a magistrate, lawgiver, judge is absurd and unnatural. Okay, so this idea of, again, equal rights for all, special privileges for none. Nobody's supposed to have a special privilege. Again, think of lawmakers sometimes that were not subject to certain laws they wrote, okay? Is that a violation of this principle? Yeah. I'm thinking of, just being candid with you, in Michigan, And in some states that are still prohibiting gatherings together and the prohibition of haircuts, when I see politicians in states prohibiting getting a haircut, having their hair perfectly done, I'm going, well, I think that's a violation of this principle of equality, and that's just a petty thing right there. Okay, but there's other things like that. But equality is a big value we have, and again, we'll develop this a little bit later in some of the inconsistencies as a country. But again, the fourth principle and value that we have is this idea of self-government. Again, I've already talked about this before, but a key presumption of our republican small r form of government is that we're able to govern ourselves. Okay, and now I've talked about the idea of governing yourself, the idea of having self-control. But another aspect of this idea of self-government is this idea that I can delegate governmental responsibility to a politician or someone to make decisions for me. And I have the right to choose and remove those politicians through free and frequent elections. Okay, that's this idea of self-government. Okay, if we don't have that right, and if the people ruling over us were not chosen by us and can't be removed by us, then that is a definition of tyranny. Okay, so this idea of self-government is something I've already talked about, is popular sovereignty, is that the sovereign is we the people, and by popular elections and by popular choices, we choose those that rule over us. Okay, so that's a big part of that. So I'm going to end right there, and hopefully I'll conclude by talking about the limits and the power of America's ideals.